Hello friends, myself Dilkari Nazra. I am recording this video from SSK Shikshan Sanstha's Ganesh International School, Nevada University. I am going to teach you today physics and under the topic ray optics. So before learning ray optics, something we should know, some basic things, and let's see. So we are studying physics for standard 10th as per CBSE. Okay, actually ray optics is a subject from physics which deals with lights. So here many people in history defined light in different ways, but for ray optics we will be dealing light as a wave. Now to recall from our previous chapter what a wave is, I will give a little introduction about waves. What are waves? Waves are the transfer of energy through a medium, or even if there is a medium, there also can exist waves. That means in respect to mediums we can define the types of wave. For example, there can be two classifications made for waves. First, mechanical waves. And second is electromagnetic wave. This electromagnetic wave doesn't need any type of medium to propagate, but this mechanical type of wave needs a medium for its propagation. Now this electromagnetic wave, what we know as light as a wave, is an electromagnetic wave. Why we are considering electromagnetic wave as our light? Because we all know when sun rises, what we say, when the sun's light hits our earth, we all know that in between sun and earth it is totally vacuum. So if the light is coming from sun to earth, that means there should be electromagnetic wave, because this is the only wave which travels through the vacuum, or which does not need any type of material medium. Now, how does it look? It's an interesting diagram for a physicist to make. Like electromagnetic wave, as the name says, it has two components, like an electric field and a magnetic field. Now, how these waves are created? We all know from our basics that a wave is created due to oscillation of particle. And how does this electromagnetic waves are created? Here the oscillations are made by the charges. So there could be, it may be a positive charge, it may be a negative charge, it could be any charge, but due to the oscillation of those charges, we will get a wave which is known as electromagnetic wave. Now this looks quite interesting while making, right? I'm using a different chalk for different component. Let's say this is for electric field waves, and the magnetic field wave will be in the same phase of the electric field, and that will be perpendicular to the electric field. You must be seeing in 3D also. So this is the propagation, direction of propagation of the wave, and this is the electric field, and this is the magnetic field. The maximum magnetic field is B naught, let's say, and the maximum electric field is E naught. And for your general knowledge, let me write the electric field as a function of time and space. So for electric field, it would be E naught sine omega t plus minus kx if the given direction is in x, and for magnetic field it would be b naught sine omega t plus minus kx. So as here you can see, the sign of this angle, what we call as phase, the phase is same for them. What the difference is just in these magnitudes. So this was all about waves of electromagnetic waves. Now we all know from our basics that a wave has a oscillatory particles, and let us say the oscillations are made in such a way that their time period is t and their frequency is f, and we all know from our previous knowledge that f is equal to 1 by t, right? Now if we want to find the velocity of wave, which is an extremely important concept here. Now what we will do for finding the velocity of wave? Now let me make an ordinary wave like this. So here I have made an one wavelength of a wave. It can be electromagnetic, it can be mechanical, anyway. But if I am interested in finding the velocity of this wave, then what I will do, let's say velocity of the wave is Vw is actually equal to the lambda, the distance traveled by this wave in the given time period. That is, we get the formula for speed of the wave as v is equal to lambda by t, and even if we want that f is equal to 1 upon t, we can write this formula as lambda into f. So we will need that soon. Now let's move forward in the ray optics. This one was all about our light, and one more important thing about this light, the light what we see in our general life is actually came from our sun. That is the ultimate source, what we say. There are many natural sources too, like fires. When there is a fire, we can see light. So what those things are? So why then this velocity of a light, let's say, because it is also a wave. So velocity of light in any medium is less by some amount, and that, let's say v, by that some amount, and the maximum speed of the light is in the space that is in vacuum, that we call as c, and this c has a value of c is equal to 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. This is the speed of light in vacuum, and v may be something but less than this c value. So from this first thing we have concluded that velocity of light depends on medium too. Okay. Now let's move forward in the ray optics, that is of reflections. Okay, so we are starting with reflections. Now you must have read this before. Now one thing to say about reflections, these are not just valid for electromagnetic waves. Any type of wave which are present in our universe can be made in terms of reflections. That means even sound waves can reflect, and if the sound wave is reflecting more than the 17 meters, then what we hear is an echo. That means echo is an also example of reflections. Okay. Now let's start for reflection in lights. So for reflection in lights, we have to know few rules of reflections. Okay. At very first rule, let's suppose this is our reflector. We commonly call it as a mirror, but generally it could be any reflector. Okay. Now if an incident ray comes from an object, let's say this is an object, then we measure an angle which we call angle of incidence. This is incident ray. And this is angle of reflection. Here one thing to note that I am measuring this angle of reflection from a perpendicular to this reflector. This perpendicular has a name. We physicists generally call it a normal, n, represented by n, and this is the angle of reflections. Let's say this is I. Now, we all know that if the light enters or strikes on the reflector, then at any angle which it strikes, in the same manner, it will be reflected back with the, let's say, angle R, and the very first law of reflection could be summarized as angle of this I is equals to angle of this R. That means angle of incidence is equals to the angle of reflection. This is the first law of reflection. Now, the second law is reflection is incident ray, reflected ray and the normal must lie on same plane. What does that mean? They all should lie in same plane. What does that mean? If our light beam is coming in such a manner, that means the reflected ray will go in the manner which it should consisted in this board's plane. That means it will be in the same plane. What do we mean by plane? It is a three-dimensional geometrical figure. Essentially, we can get a intuition about plane. So this is, you can call as a plane. So if this is a plane and let's give them a name x, y and z. So if the light is incident on the plane yx, let's suppose for y, then the reflected ray will also move through the xy plane only. If the incident ray is lies on the zx plane, then the reflected ray would also lie on the same plane and it will reflect. Okay? So these are the two laws of reflections. Okay? Let's see one more thing about the reflection. Here we have defined three things. First, the incident ray, second the normal, and third the reflected ray. So if this is the reflected and this is the normal, then let's say this is the incident ray from this point, and it will be reflected in the same plane with the same angle of incidence. This is angle of incidence, let's say I, and this is the angle of reflection, let's say R. Now here one more angle we have to introduce, that is the angle of deviation. So we are going to study now the angle of deviation. What does this mean? The angle by which the incident ray is turned for the reflection is known as angle of deviation. So for this instance, let's say this was the actual path by which the incident ray was coming, but due to this reflector, it has moved away, right? So the angle of deviation, what we define is this angle. That means angle of deviation is this angle by which the incident ray is deviated towards the reflected ray. We call this as delta. Now we will be making an mathematical formulation for this delta. Let's see. Okay, here you can see that this normal is perpendicular to the reflector, and this is the incident ray, and this is the reflected ray. This is the angle of incidence, angle of reflection, and this is deviation. Now let's talk about this deviation. By seeing this diagram, we can see actually this is an old line, and we know the total sum of the angle of till this line will be 180 degrees from simple geometry, right? So we can say that this angle plus this angle plus this angle will make to 180 degrees. That means I plus R plus delta will give to 180 degrees. Now the delta will be 180 minus I plus R, right? But we know from law of reflection that angle I is equal to angle R. That means we can resubstitute this R as I. So we can say this as 180 degree minus I plus I from laws of reflection. Hence it would be 180 minus 2 times of R. So this is the angle of deviation. Here one thing you will see that this I is always positive, and if the I is always positive, then this delta will be always strictly less than 180 degrees. So these are some conclusions which are quite important. Okay. So you can see. Okay. So it's regular and irregular reflections. Now this type of reflections are distinguished on the basis of what the type of reflector we are having. Like if we are having a reflector which is absolutely smooth, without any cranes, then the type of reflector you will be calling as regular reflector. Now, if here, let's say two incident rays are coming, so let's say this is the first incident ray, I of 1, and another one, so I of 2, such that I1 is parallel to I2, and here from the geometry we can conclude that this angle I1, this angle I2 are equal. Okay? Now, let's talk about the reflections. Let's say this is R1 and this is R2 for this. So from here we can conclude that R1 is actually equals to I1 and R2 is actually equals to I2, and as these both are equal, we can conclude that R1 is equals to R2. And also, one thing to note here, this ray, the first reflected ray and the second reflected ray are both parallel to each other. R1 is parallel to R2. Now, for generalizing the thing, we can say if there are n number of incident rays, then there will be n number of reflected rays, and if those I1 is parallel to I2 is parallel to I3 such that n, then this will imply R1 is parallel to R2 is parallel to R3 parallel to Rn. That means for a pair of n parallel incident ray, there will be an n number of parallel reflected rays. Okay. This condition is only shown in the case of regular reflection. Now, let's talk about irregular reflections. Okay, let's talk about irregular reflections. The reflector is known as irregular reflector if it is not smooth, it is having some fringes like so. Okay, it's irregular, but it is, let's say, reflected. So this is an type of irregular reflection. Reflector. So now, in the similar manner, let's say some parallel incident rays are coming. So for this is I1. So for the normal, what we make, it should be always perpendicular to the surface. Hence, here the surface is quite like this. For this, the normal should be this. This should be N1 because it should be perpendicular to the surface, and here it is as seen. This is the perpendicular, and if this is angle of incidence, this would be angle of reflection. Now, if one more ray comes in, let's say I2, which is also parallel to I1, here the normal would be quite here. Here the normal would be like this. We are making an approximate diagram. So this would be I of 2, and as per the law of reflection, it will be R of 2. Now, if we will concentrate on the rays R2 and R1, are they parallel? No, right? But what we have seen in regular, that if I1 is parallel to I2, this was implying R1 parallel to R2 for regular reflection. Now, for this case, here I1 is parallel to I2, because that's given. We are taking a set of parallel incident rays, but what this makes, R1 is not parallel to R2. If this is the condition shown by the rays, then what we call is irregular reflections. Here in the figure you can see that the reflecting R1 ray is in this direction and this is in this direction. Now we all know that parallel rays never meet, but if I will join this in the back, then it will actually intersect here. So these rays are intersecting each other, hence we can conclude this R1 and R2 are not parallel. So this is for irregular reflection. Okay, here comes the question. In regular and irregular reflections, we have applied laws of reflection. Now, is laws of reflection valid in irregular type of reflection? Yes, it is absolutely valid. I have said that reflection is a general phenomenon which can occur. It not just means absolute smooth, even if it is quite smooth, it will reflect, and by laws of reflections. Hence, we have completed till regular and irregular type of reflections. We will be solving some questions on them. Okay, let's do some questions or reflections. Starting from a very easy question. Let's say an incident ray is coming at an angle 30 degrees. So you are supposed to give the answers of the angle of reflection first and the radiation. Now, this is the angle of reflection incidence. Then the angle of reflection would be this. So you have to find this angle of reflection and delta. So try it. Pause the video. Try it. Now, okay, let's start. So from the first law of reflection, what we know is angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Now, the angle of incidence is given here. That means R is equal to 30 degrees. This is the first answer. And the second is you have to find the deviation. What is the deviation? Deviation is this angle. The angle by which the incident ray has turned. So, what we know is deviation is equal to 180 degrees minus 2 times of incident angle. You can use the formula, or even you can make some easy geometrical interpretation and also you can find that. So this would be 180 degrees minus 2 times of I, and I is given as 30 degrees. So this 2 times of 30 degrees, it would be 180 degree minus 60, which is 120 degrees. Hence, the angle of incidence is deviated by 120 degrees. This was the very question. Let's see the next question. Okay, here is the second question. In this question, they have given in the given figure angle of the incident rays I1 and I2 are parallel. This is given, and the angle of incidence of the first ray is 30 degrees, and its reflective angle is 30 degrees too. And for R2, it's 20 degrees, and they have asked for I2. This is our question. So here is the option. Solve the question by pausing the video. Solve it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now, let's first observe what the type of reflected ray is. It is an irregular reflector. So, I1 is given as 30 degrees. So, the R1 is going to be 30 degrees too. Now, here they have also given that I1 is parallel to I1. Generally, what we see, if two parallel lines are making an angle, maybe any angle with a line, then what we say that this angle, if it is, let's say A, is at the parallel lines. This is an angle A, this is also an angle A. This is for two parallel lines, let's say L1 and L2. L1 and L2 are parallel, and if a transversal, if we call this line as transversal, say P, intersect the two lines, parallel lines, then these angles what we call as corresponding angles, and we know that for two parallel lines the corresponding angles are equal. But is the case also valid here? Just think of it. Okay, many of them must have given this answer as 30 degrees. But actually it is wrong. This is not for this case. Okay, that means the corresponding angle of two parallel lines intersected by n transversal are not equal always? They are equal. But the angle what we measure here, the angle of incidence, the angle of reflection, they are measured from normal of the wave. So here you can say that this is the normal. Let's say 10 mm. So this 30 degree is measured from this normal, and if I consider about this normal N2, then its angle should be measured from this normal. Now to solve this question, what we need is the given thing. Now here it is given that angle of reflection of the second ray is R of 2 is 20 degrees. Now here we can apply first law of reflection. Here we can apply first law of reflection. That is, we will find I2 is equals to R2, and that is actually equals to 20 degrees. So the right answer would be D. Here you must have observed that the angle I1 is not equal to I2. So what you have observed, that I1 is not equal to I2 even if this I1 and I2 are parallel. If I1 is I2 and parallel to each other, still I1 is not equal to I2 is the case when you deal with irregular reflectors.